Oh, that was fast. Okay, it says we're live. Okay. Hi, Amy. How you been?
Well, I've been hanging in here. Yourself?
Um, could be worse, man. It could always be worse. Listen, everybody. This is going to be a really short broadcast. Amy has no idea what this is even about, and I
Nope.
want to keep it that way because I want her genuine reaction. Um, but I just wanted to do it this way because, as most of you know, I don't do video editing. I use my cell phone, and it has a pause. So if you see any cuts in any of my videos, it's just because I hit the pause function on my record on my cell phone, and I don't do editing. I don't have screencast, and I just thought that this would be the easiest way to get this done and have it uploaded without having to plug my phone in and pull stuff off my phone and then upload to YouTube. So anyway, that's that. That's why I'm doing it this way. What I want to do is I want to dissect a news story that came to my attention this morning. I just got back from a short job, so now I'm home and I want to do this. So Amy has no idea what I'm even going to talk about. And what I would like to do first is I want to do a screen share, and I want to show you what the story is and how it came to my attention. And then what I want to do is I want to dissect it in a way very differently from the person that originally brought this to my attention. And what I should do real quick is jump over to my channel, because I know that there's already people watching, and I will be doing a screen share, so I won't be able to really watch the chat very well. And give me just 2 seconds, and let me get over there and see if I can say hello to whoever is watching. And couple more seconds. Bear with me. Almost there. Almost there.
I'm already there.
I have to mute. Let me get over there and see if I can say hello to whoever is watching. Mute. Seconds. Bear with me. Come on. Blue Blood, Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hi, guys. I have to mute. Shoot, 6 people watching already. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to go ahead and pause that portion and say hello to people that are watching. 7, 8. Holy crap. Okay. Look, I really just wanted to do this as a way to upload this video quickly and efficiently. And this will be a short broadcast. So hello to everyone that's watching. And let's get started. So here we go. I am sharing, yes?
Yep.
Let me go ahead and highlight my icon so that I stay highlighted. I'm so sorry to be dragging behind. Okay, so I should be sharing and I should be highlighted. So here we go. This first came to my attention from this channel called Gary Orsum. Okay, I saw this video this morning. The title is An Idiot Victim. And for the most part, his assessment is good. That is assuming that it's a real story. Now, I'll get into that in just a moment. I don't think it's a real story, and I'll tell you why. But let me just play this video for a couple of minutes, and it'll explain most of the story, and you'll get an idea of Gary's assessment of the story, which is good, assuming it's a real story. And then I'll come back. So let's listen. And Amy, you tell me if you can or cannot hear this. So here we go.
I will.
I've always believed that progressive values are for the
I can hear.
handicapped. But the guy in the clip I'm about to play epitomises how dumb you can get by collectivist thinking. This guy has been stabbed on the public transport system. Let's hear his perspective on what happened to him.
I got no ill will towards this guy. I didn't want to get him put in jail. I don't want him to be in jail. I don't want him to have to deal with this system that's out here. This is the problem, not him stabbing me is not the problem. That's just the result.
Did you hear that? He doesn't want the guy that tried to murder him put in jail. It's the system that's the problem. I mean, what an idiot. Here's the flaw in your reasoning, fool. Everyone lives within the system, but not everyone goes around stabbing people. The responsibility for you being stabbed lays solely with the individual that stabbed you. The system didn't stab you. The system provided you with public transport so that you could travel around for free or next to free. The reason you nearly died is because an animal that doesn't value human life was walking the streets, and you don't want that person put in jail. I want dangerous people imprisoned to protect the public, but not you.
The man who was stabbed is doing fine.
Well, isn't that lucky? But what if he wasn't doing fine? What if he was stabbed in the eye and left permanently blinded? You know, this guy's altruism seems to be very much based on the fact that he's up and walking around again. You know, I can't help but think that if he was slashed all over his face and left hideously disfigured, he might not be so forgiving of his attacker.
And he's now coming forward because he wants to make a public appeal to anybody and everybody that rides mass transit to try and just treat each other a little better and get along.
People would probably be a good place to start, wouldn't it?
Man, he was trying to kill me. This dude was trying to kill me.
But your misguided sense of utopian socialism mitigates that fact, doesn't it?
Less than 48 hours ago, Anthony Hartley was struggling for his life on this concrete island where he suffered 2 shallow stab wounds and a slashed arm.
If he had a bigger knife or had enough power to get through my muscle, he would have killed me most likely.
Yeah.
There was air pockets around my heart, so they kept me in the hospital for a while. But in general, I'm fine.
He wants to make a public appeal to try and just...
All right, I want to pause and I want to play that portion again. I want that really to stick in your mind. Listen to what he says.
...and a slashed arm.
If he had a bigger knife or had enough power to get through my muscle, he would have killed me most likely.
Yeah.
There was air pockets around my heart, so they kept me in the hospital for a while. But in general, I'm fine.
He wants to make...
Okay, I'm going to pause and I'm going to play it yet again one more time because I really want what he just said to stick in your mind.
If he had a bigger knife or had enough power to get through my muscle, he would have killed me most likely.
Yeah.
There was air pockets around my heart, so they kept me in the hospital for a while. But in general, I'm fine.
He wants to make a public appeal to try and just treat each other a little better and get along.
I was like, dude, stop. You can just stop it now, and none of that has to happen.
And did the guy say, hey, yeah, you're right, it's the system? Or did he say, I'm only stabbing you because Hillary didn't become president? Or perhaps even, if we didn't live under oppressive capitalism, this wouldn't be a knife, it would be a cupcake.
He feels like his stabbing happened partly because of the negative climate that sometimes finds its way into the public transit system.
But of course, our friend doesn't want that negative climate to serve any time in prison for trying to kill him. He'd rather have that negative climate walking the streets, free to use the public transport system, free to stab someone else, perhaps a child next time.
Hartley says now he hopes to start a group for people who want to find ways to create a more positive environment on public transit.
Hey, I've got a suggestion for creating a more positive environment on the public transport system. Get rid of those that commit acts of violence on the public transport system by putting them in jail.
It's just ridiculous out here. We need to just start treating each other better in general as people, especially people that are riding these. They're not in the best spot.
Oh, they're in the best spot. They just don't appreciate that they're in the best spot. For example, they don't appreciate that they're not in an impoverished African country that doesn't have clean water, let alone a public transport system. Now, I'm sure this guy thinks that he's very noble for having such a developed sense of forgiveness. But what irks me about this clown is how he doesn't seem to have the first sense about the notion of personal responsibility. He assigns blame on society as a whole rather than where it rightfully belongs, on the individual that stabbed him. Anyway, fortunately, they got the prick that did it, Robert Golston. But of course, it's not like he was charged with attempted murder or anything. He was charged with second-degree assault and criminal mischief. Anyway, with a bit of luck, it'll be a long time before he's walking the streets again. And finally, to our friend that doesn't want his attacker put in prison, do you know, mate, how much society is going to miss people who go around stabbing people? Yeah, pretty much not at all.
Okay. So there's the story. At this point, I assume you have the gist of what is happening with the story.
Yep.
Now, this guy, Gary Orsom, his assessment, in my opinion, is a good assessment, assuming that it is, in fact, a real story, which I doubt, and I'm going to explain why.
I've already got my own doubts.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go first?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, he couldn't get through the muscle, right? So how did these air pockets get around his heart?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad someone's paying attention.
I'm going, no, I can't see that working. You know, if he didn't get through, there should be no issue with the heart whatsoever.
Anything else?
Well, he just seemed a little too bouncy and happy for, and you know, 2 little Band-Aids, and he was in the hospital with. Oh, come now, no, it does not ring true.
Okay.
What have you got?
Well, I've got actually kind of a lot. Virtually everything the man said seems utterly absurd on its face.
Yes.
And then when you go and you look up the article itself is not only absurd on its face, but it's a little bit telling in a way, and I'll get to that in just a second. But like you said, how does air pockets develop around the heart when the man said himself that the assailant didn't have the power to penetrate his muscle? So before I decided to address this, I thought that I would do a simple search on Google, and I looked up, the search that I entered was, how serious is air pockets around the heart? And I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share again so I can show you what I found. Oops, let me go back and make sure that I am highlighted. I'm still highlighted, okay.
Yep, you're definitely sharing.
Okay, well, after that simple search, I learned that the terminology for that condition is pneumopericardium. Can you see this?
Yep.
Pneumopericardium is a medical condition where air enters the pericardial cavity. This condition has been recognized in preterm neonates, which, for you who do not know, those are babies that are born before their term, in which it is associated with severe lung pathology after vigorous resuscitation or in the presence of assisted ventilation. Now, pardon me. So looking a little bit further, and I haven't even opened any of these, but there's enough information here. Pneumopericardium represents air within the pericardium, that's the sac around the heart, thus surrounding the heart. Etiology, underlying causes include positive pressure, ventilation, thoracic surgery, pericardial fluid drainage, blah, blah, blah. Look at the next one here. It's a medical condition where air enters the pericardial cavity. The condition has been recognized in preterm neonates in which associated with lung pathology, blah, blah, blah. Here's another one. In rare cases, the pericardium can fill with air. This condition, pneumopericardium, can be life-threatening. Okay. Assisted ventilation with severe lung pathology. Okay. All right. You get it. It's a serious condition.
Yes. It's probably not something you're out of the hospital in 48 hours from.
Thank you. Thank you.
And walking around as if nothing's wrong except having a couple of Band-Aids slapped on your chest.
Right. Now, I'm not a doctor. I only play one on the internet. So,
yes.
So I assume that this is a serious condition, and you're probably not going to get out of the hospital in 48 hours if that's the case. But the man said with his own words that had the knife been longer or the man had more power, right? The man if the man had more power, right? Okay. Here's the article. So I went and I looked, and here's the article. Stabbing victim blames negative climate on transit. Okay, so there's the guy. Here's the article. Okay, my first question is this. How is this a story? How does the news turn this into a story? People get stabbed and shot every day.
All the time. 100
times a day in this country.
Yep.
How is it that, number one, this is a story? And if it was a story, it should be that, okay, a guy was stabbed on the train. All right? That should be the story.
Yep.
But no, the news followed up and they found this guy on the street and they gave an interview on the street.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Now, it should be noted that this story is, in fact, a month old. This is published November 27th, 2017, right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a month-old story, but the man was in the hospital for 2 days. It happened on the 25th. So how does the news get the story 2 days later when the man was released from the hospital? Were they waiting around for him to get out of the hospital? You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. So let's move on here. Let's just read this article, and I want you to count the number of sentences. And first, I'll just scan quickly and show you that this is an extremely short article. There it is. That's the end right there. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, I think it's like 12 sentences in total. Okay. He says, a man who was stabbed after an argument on the Portland streetcar said that active violence isn't the problem, but the result of negative climate that sometimes finds its way on the public transit system. All right. Now, down here, and again, I want to remind you, this is only about maybe 12 sentences in total. Down here it says, Hartley said he feels like the stabbing happened partly because the negative climate that finds its way on the public transit. So in this remarkably short article, they feel the need to repeat that twice. Actually, 3 times if you consider the headline. Okay? Are you still with me, Amy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I was unmuted, and I guess I was muted.
Okay. So if you read the article, you've heard the statement 3 times. In one reading, you've heard that statement 3 times. Okay?
Yeah.
Continuing on, a man who was stabbed after an argument on Portland streetcar said the act of violence, okay, I already read that. Quote, I've got no ill will towards the guy. I didn't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to be in jail. I don't want him to have to deal with the system that's out there, Anthony Hartley said. And by the way, at this point, I should note that his name is Anthony Hartley.
Oh,
Anthony,
I've got to run that on Gematrinator. Continue.
Anthony Hartley had air pockets around his heart. Is anyone getting a fucking clue yet? Quote, this is the problem. Him stabbing me is not the problem. That's just the result. Thank you, Anthony Hartley. Hartley is recovering. He's recovering. He seems fine to me. He's on the street giving interviews.
He's walking around as if nothing happened.
He's on the street giving interviews with a couple of Band-Aids. I don't call that recovering. The guy's fine.
And a black and white hat and a black and white shirt.
While I'm on this portion of the article, look at the image of the quote-unquote assailant. Does this look like a man who did not have the power to penetrate his muscle?
No.
You think that guy is too weak? His knife couldn't penetrate the muscle? And it, by the way, if the knife didn't penetrate the muscle, how the fuck do you get air pockets around the heart?
Yeah, exactly. That was my very first question.
Okay, so let's look.
Wait a minute.
Let's look at this little gem of a paragraph right here. Hartley is recovering and getting back to normal after getting back to normal life after he suffered a few shallow stab wounds to his chest and slashes to his arm on the platform near, here it comes. God damn it, stop jumping around. On the platform near, ready for this? Northeast 7th Avenue and Haslow Street around 7 p.m. There's your double 7.
There's our 77. Yep. I made a comment about there was some other thing, and when I ran the gematria, I wound up with 77.
And here he says in the article, if he had a bigger knife or had enough power to get through my muscle.
Yes.
Look at that picture of this guy. Does he look like he didn't have enough power?
No, he looks like he could bulldoze a whole line of people pretty easily.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. That's the entire article. That's it.
That's crazy. I'm definitely calling PSYOP on this one.
Okay, now this image, by the way, this is the very bottom of the article. There's nothing, I'll just show you. There's nothing after this, okay? Right here, this bottom image has a caption that says, police say a man was stabbed several times during a fight in Northeast Portland's Lloyd District on November 25th, 2017. And I can see that there's police tape all the way around the bus stop.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. For a photo op, obviously.
Why is there police tape around the bus stop? What investigation is required? Why do you have to cordon this off? Oh, maybe there was, look, let's assume for 2 seconds that this is a real story and there was blood on the sidewalk. Okay, block it. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, fine, fair enough. But again, it just seems absurd. There's police tape. Oh, there's a big investigation. A man was stabbed. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the man was stabbed and we pretty much know who did it. Yeah, we've got to cordon everything off and, check for fingerprints, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, no, it's just lunatic.
Okay. So I think I've pretty well covered everything. I really don't know what else to say. It's Anthony Hartley, who had air pockets around his heart. Anthony Hartley had air pockets around his heart.
Yeah.
Everything about the story is absolutely absurd on its face. The article is so fucking short. It only consists of about 12 sentences in total, and yet they feel the need to repeat that mantra that it's the negative climate that sometimes finds its way on the public transit system. They had to repeat that at least twice in the article, once in the headline. That makes 3 times if you read the entire thing.
Yeah.
So in 12 sentences, they felt the need to repeat that. This is pure propaganda. I believe this is another story where, and like I said in the comment on the original video, this guy's video here, which is already buried. It's way down here. The guy's got 60,000 subs, so there's a lot of comments. Oh, there it is. So my comment was, I'm seeing BS propaganda story, air pockets around his heart, and he's walking the streets in less than 48 hours. That I seriously doubt would even be reality. How did air pockets around his heart even happen when the man just said the knife didn't penetrate his muscle? And my final sentence is, hoax events come in all sizes. Big and small. So literally within minutes, this guy comes at me and he says, so which bit do you believe? I'm guessing he was referring to the cut on his arm. I have no explanation for why he's guessing that, because nobody was even talking about the cut on his arm. Not me, not the article. He says, you're making a lot of assumption about what happened. Well, actually, no, I made one assumption, and that the stabbing didn't even happen. That's the only assumption that I made.
Yep.
He says, unless you have firsthand knowledge of the attack, your comment is a wild stab in the dark. Well, that's a cute little pun there, Mr. Quiet Action. But there is the rest of my comment to him, if anybody wants to read that. I went and found the article, and everything in my comment is what I've already said. So I just wanted to literally cover this because I didn't want to use my phone and then download and then upload and all that shit. I just wanted to get this out there because I want to help people learn how to interpret the news. That's why I titled this the way I titled it.
Yeah.
How to interpret the news. Let me see. When you see a 33, that's a big red flag. When you see a 77, that's a big red flag. Now, speaking
of numbers,
what did you, Gematrinator?
Okay.
What's their name?
Gematrinator.com, and it's Anthony. I ran Anthony, which has in Frank Baconis, it has 193, which is your 44th prime number, which relates to death and stuff, killing. But interestingly, in primes, Anthony is 322. I'm thinking And in LCH Kabbalah, we have our 93. Now, when I go
Kabbalah, Jesus Christ, how many gematrias are there, Jamie?
On this particular one, we've got 27 different ones, but there's more because Derek is working on some of the reverse elements, but I'm just still on his basic Gematrinator. Anthony Hartley is 69 in full reduction. It's let's see, 1116 in Sumerian. I don't know if that's particularly interesting.
Jerry says there's hundreds of systems, hundreds of gematria.
Oh yeah, there are.
Well, that's a little ridiculous. I mean, that provides, it makes it too easy to cherry pick.
But that's why I only use this set, and there's really only certain ones that
let's use
like primes, trigonals, and squares seem to be significant.
Primes, trigonals, Jesus Christ. Let's use the one that really matters, the ones that we know where numerology is a factor. Let's use the Hebrew or the Jewish gematria. What does it have to say?
Well, it's got, for Hartley in ordinal, we have the 40th prime number 173.
And that means nothing to me.
Yeah, well, it got 56 in reduced and 1253 in just straight Jewish. I think, let me just do Hartley. 35 in reduced, which I know is the number for Catholic. It's got 100 in reverse ordinal.
Okay, so Sons and Daughters of Liberty left a comment here. No bruising either. Yeah, fake event. If he got past the muscle, he still had to get through the sternum bone. Correct.
And stuff.
Absolutely correct, because those stab wounds were directly above the sternum bone. Look, let's cover this real quick, and I just want to end this broadcast. I wanted this to be brief.
Okay.
Why do you think that the story was fake to begin with? Just curious, your thoughts.
Well, I do know that there's a lot of the Masons do a lot of faking, little fakeries, big fakeries. You know, it's part of their.
Jerry says filler.
That too.
I don't think so, Jerry. I think that there's enough real stuff to cover. If they wanted to fill, there's plenty of real news to fill. Plenty. There's no shortage of things to cover. Real events. If they wanted filler, there's plenty of real stuff to fill with.
Yeah.
So Amy, Amy, continue. Why do you think it was faked?
Well, I told you why I think it's fake, but as far as why they are faking things.
Why do you think this particular story was faked?
I think, well, I'm trying to wrap my head around the agenda. I think it's they're trying to take the responsibility off of people who do things and place it on society.
That's good. That's good. We're not responsible for our actions. If we were triggered, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. That's it.
Hey, how many shootings and stabbings and bombings have we seen where the family members in interviews and at the funerals will say things like, we forgive the shooter. We forgive you.
We forgive the bomber. We forgive everybody. Everything's forgiven.
That's right.
Yep. And you know, in real life, you know that may happen in an extremely small percentage of the cases, like 0.000000. Throw a few more zeros in there before you get to a digit that isn't zero.
I think, let me tell you my reason. I think this is a fake story for one reason and one reason only. And it is to promote the progressive social engineering propaganda that came out of this man's mouth during his interview, saying things like, it's not his fault, it's the system. I don't want him in jail. I want to create a better system. We should all get along. Remember Rodney King? Can't we all get along?
Yes, yes, yes.
I think that this is one of those contrived stories to provide the media an excuse to promote more left-wing, progressive, social engineering propaganda. End of story.
Well, I don't know whether I would put it left wing, although it's usually promoted as being left wing. But as we all know, both wings are controlled by the same dirty bird.
No, I understand. No, I understand.
So, but yeah, that's serving a purpose to the dirty bird by having that left wingy stuff, that, or what they're calling that, in there. Definitely serving their purposes to be able to, just, why can't we all just get along?
Amy, public transit has surveillance cameras. There are cameras on the bus that show the entirety of the bus. There's a camera that shows the driver. There's a camera that shows out front of the driver in case something happens. And it's not his. And then there's a camera that shows all the people on the bus.
Yep.
There is no video of what actually happened. Oh, by the way, and I should preface that the story does say that the man followed him off of the bus after they exchanged words, and that's when the fight ensued. So the fight happened off of the bus where no cameras might have been.
Oh, of course.
But nevertheless, there should have been surveillance showing the man get off right behind the other guy.
Yeah, we should have footage of them in the same vicinity. Absolutely.
If they wanted to show it, they could have obtained. Right? I think it was pretty curious that that the whole bus stop was cordoned off with police tape. I think that was a little over the top and a bit ridiculous.
Well, yeah. Why? I mean, I don't know that it would have ensued right at the bus stop anyway. It might have been, a quarter of the block away.
Well, let's assume the story was real and the man did follow the guy off the bus. The fight would, in my opinion, would have happened right there. So fair enough. Fair enough.
Maybe. Anyway, yeah, I say totally fake and agenda driven and so on and so forth.
So Jerry says the story may be furthering the need for self-driving cars because the buses aren't safe.
That could be too.
Maybe.
That could be too.
That's a good assessment. I think that's valid. I think that's absolutely valid. And we're so close to self-driving everything these days. That's a very valid point, Jerry. Because, buses aren't safe. And so what they'll do is they'll get rid of public bus system and everybody will have
buses and trains. They're all unsafe.
Literally everybody will have self-driving cars. There won't be, look, once self-driving cars are fully implemented, we won't have any more buses. That's a good point, Jerry. Hey, Nish is in the house. Hi, Nish. So there it is, you guys. I didn't want this to be a long broadcast. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this particular story, which happens to be a freaking month old, by the way. Who gives a shit, right? It's just another story that, look, one of the main reasons I'm doing this assessment to begin with is to help other people realize that when you read a story, look, the thing is, start with the idea that it's bullshit and work backwards. Right? I mean, how many times does someone have to lie to you before you don't believe a goddamn word they say anymore? Right?
I usually will give maybe two. Two.
Yeah, if you had a friend.
Beyond that.
If you had a friend, a neighbor, a family member, a boss, a coworker, and they lied to you repeatedly, how many times does it take before you just stop believing a word out of their mouth, anything they have to say?
Yep.
So at this point, and look, I've covered this before on the show. Do you remember the story I told you guys about the 5-year-old kid who saved Grandpa from a hot car?
Yeah.
It's just like it's one of those filler stories. It was one of those feel good. The little 5-year-old boy was heralded as a fucking hero because he saved his own grandfather from a hot car because the door locks, the automatic electronic door locks wouldn't open. It was just one of those bogus stories. And I immediately thought to myself, who the fuck called the news? And second question is, who at the news station answered the phone and says, hey guys, this is a hot story. Get down there and cover this.
Really?
So it's like, look, even small stories. The comment I left on that video was, hoaxes come in all sizes. Hoaxes come in all sizes, people.
Yes,
the
they do.
news is not there to inform you. It is there to form your opinion. This story is another in a long, long line of fake, small fake news stories so that they can then follow up with their fucking propaganda, their social engineering. And I want people to realize that even the small stories are fake. Okay? They're fake.
Yep. If it's on the MSM, it's got, we can start doing the 99.999 and bunches of nines before we end that sequence. That it's made up with an agenda behind it. And, you know, long ago I started saying, okay, I'm going to presume it's fake until I get some data that suggests it's real. And so far, everything I presumed fake never delivered on that data that it was real.
Oh. Jerry said, entertainment purposes only, read the fine print. He's correct. If you go to the Fox News website, if you go to the mainstream media websites, they say themselves that they are listed as entertainment.
Yep.
And I would go one step further and suggest there be a new category, and that new category should be called social engineering, because it's not entertainment.
Yeah, but they wouldn't want to admit to that. I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Hey, Las Valdez, how you doing, buddy? Las says, I'll go with Mark Twain on this one. And I think I know what he's suggesting. And I didn't, if he left a previous comment, I don't know. But I'll just say this. I know that there's a Mark Twain quote, and it goes like this. He who reads the newspaper, excuse me, he who does not read the newspaper is uninformed, and he who reads the newspaper is misinformed. So good on you, Laz. Absolutely. Mark Twain. Great quote. Great quote. So there you go, guys. I just wanted, like I said, I wanted this to be short, and I wanted it to be easy on me so I didn't have to use my cell phone. And so there it is. I'm glad you guys joined in. 17, 18 people already. I think I'm going to go ahead and close this out because this is really all I wanted to cover.
All righty. Well, love to all of you who came by.
Jerry says, check out the results of the lawsuits in Deflategate. Oh, my God. You talking about the fucking football Deflategate?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, that'll tell you all you need to know. Jerry, love you, bro, but I don't even need to look into that. I already know all I need to know. That was bullshit from the get-go.
That was just total
Deflategate. Okay. That story was just absurd from start to finish. Entertainment purposes only. Absolutely, Jerry. Entertainment purposes only. All right, you guys, listen. It is it's 12/28. We're 3 days away from the new year. I want everybody to have a good new year. And so
have a good future entirely. From here on in.
Oh, hang on. Las Valdez said, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. Mark Twain.
That's another.
A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. Love you guys. Mark Twain. Love you, Laz, Jerry, Speculum Nish, all you guys that decided to stop by. Expander and Baslovic and Illusion and everybody. Blue Blood. We love you guys. Everybody have a good new year, and we will catch you all on the flip side.
Yep. We're no show this Friday.
Yeah, we're not going to do a show this Friday. We are taking our little holiday break, and I want you all to be good. Oh, Amy, have you heard back from Spudgy? Have you heard back from Spudgy Pang?
Not yet, but RR says that he's working on it.
Okay, so just in case
I'll
you guys
be
are
the first one to know.
just in case you guys are interested, we're working on a show with Spudgy Pang, Chirpy Chimes, RR Plan C, and of course our pal Dominic. So it'll be a UK special where our pals from the UK, and we're working on that for the first of the year. And until then,
Well, it may not be. RR says that he may not want to do it until the spring.
Oh,
So
okay.
we'll find out. We'll find out how it all pans out.
Okay, well, there it is. So everybody have a good holiday, and love to everyone. Be good, and careful what you pay attention to. You know, Bill Cooper said,
Yes.
read everything, listen to everyone, believe nothing until you can confirm it yourself.
Exactly.
And on that note, I'm going to say thank you. Have a good new year. Amy, love you. Talk to you later.
Love always.
Be good, guys. See you soon.